Welcome to Mind and Life Changes with Zoilita Grant.
So I want to welcome you all to our very first episode of Mind and Life Changes, where we endeavor to make really simple and clear and easy and effective ways to teach you to use the power of your own mind to be able to transform and change your life. So in the very first segment, we have the beginning of a series that we're going to be doing with Karen Sells. And I'm going to take a moment and just actually read her bio because it's so impressive. I think it's really wonderful to see what other people have done and what they have committed themselves to doing. So Karen has a master's in education. She supports her clients to resolve the underlying causes of anxiety, depression, anger, grief, trauma, abuse, shame, guilt, physical and emotional pain, PTSD. Doesn't that sound like what all of us are really been faced with or challenged with or know someone that has those challenges? But the key thing about Karen's work is that she can do it quickly and painlessly so that you can begin to live a more happy and peaceful and productive life that you can really love. Through her process, which is called Total Subconscious Reboot Framework, Karen's clients overcome their limiting beliefs, release their stored trauma, and permanently shift their subconscious programs so that they can identify and embody their true purpose and share their gifts with the world. Doesn't that sound like a wonderful way to live? Doesn't that really sound like what we all want in our lives? Karen has a master's in education in counseling, is a rapid resolution therapy practitioner, a certified life coach, a licensed brain gym consultant, and the host of her own live TV show, Irresistible You. Ignite your passion and purpose. So right now, she is going to begin to help you come to understand better ways that you can get rid of all of those woes that are plaguing us and plaguing our society. So Karen, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came to do the work you do?
Yeah, thank you so much, Zoilita. I've never had anybody read my bio and then add so much to it and bring it to life like that. So well done. That was beautiful. So, gosh, I grew up, I was the only girl, youngest, and I always had this sense of I wasn't enough. I wasn't as good as my brothers. It wasn't okay to be a girl. They would say things like, don't be so girly. And I took that to meant weak. So there was all kinds of internal turmoil, not enoughness, and also lack of protection from my parents physically against my brothers and against them, really. So all kinds of good stuff going on in there. And then later on in life, I decided to numb out my pain and I became an addict. And eventually, after years and years of therapy and EMDR and all the things you can think of, all the things, I came across this modality called rapid resolution therapy. And I went to a session. It was a long session. It was 4 hours. It was a different format than what I do. And then I went back to a 12-step meeting. And at that point, I had been sober for 3 years. And I went back to a 12-step meeting and I went to introduce myself as every good little addict does. Hi, I'm Karen. And I stopped dead in my tracks. And I'm like, wait a minute, that doesn't fit anymore. It just really didn't resonate. And I'm like, now what do I say? Like, I'm not saying those words. It's gone. And I didn't say it. I said recovered addict. And then that was 6 years ago. And it's completely erased from my identity. And a few years ago, I actually found the gentleman who invented rapid resolution therapy. And I started doing some training with him. And it has really shifted so much for me, like the way that I look at the world. I was for a very long time, I've been able to see other people as innocent and doing the best they can. Unless they really pushed up against some of my stuff, like, oh, that's wrong, then I had, more trouble. But I couldn't see it for myself. And I think so many people get into that place where they're holding themselves to these impossible standards and failing constantly. And even though I had done all this work, I still felt like I was falling short. And it wasn't really until I started going through the training and really understanding these perspectives that have been with me for so long that I didn't even realize they were perspectives or beliefs. I just thought they were the way things were. So I would love to share some of those as we go along.
I think it would be really wonderful if you could give some real life examples of what you're talking about, either from your life or from the life of people you worked with, because we want to really hold out that message of hope.
Yes.
Now is the time to take charge of your life.
It really is. And it's not, I love Dr. Joe Dispenza. You and I have talked about him, but he says this is not the time in your life to just know, because you can find access to every bit of information. It is the time in history to know how, to be the initiate, to actually do the things. So yeah, I know a lot of people that have all the philosophies up in their head, but they don't have them in their bodies. They don't practice them. And I get that. I mean, I was there for a very long time. So I'll give you an example. This is really funny. So I'm in an advanced class, excuse me, with rapid resolution therapy. And yesterday the instructor is like, okay, I'm thinking I'm going to call on Karen. He's like, tell me something you're proud of. And he's like, so I told him, and he's like, okay, I'm going to destroy that. I'm like, okay, go ahead. And it's because in RRT, or rapid resolution therapy, we call credit, blame, pride, and shame moralistic thinking. And that's what gets us into creating distorted meanings about things. So he's saying the opposite side of the coin of pride is shame. And that makes complete sense. And we think, like most of us, if we grew up feeling not enough, that it's good to be proud, right? He's like, what if you replace that with gratitude? I'm grateful that. He's like, you'd be a lot more likable. I said, is that really possible? Come on. But just looking at it through that lens, like when you're grateful for something, it's almost like it's right-sized. And when you look at anything appreciatively, you're going to draw more of it to you.
I think you're absolutely right. And I 100% support the concept of gratitude, but I'd also like to offer you an interesting slight change in perspective. So the idea that you're getting to is to get to kind of neutral about emotions, not allowing emotions to drive actions, to recognize that those emotions often come from beliefs or attitudes or programming. One of the things that I've found effective is to practice being a witness, so that you see the emotion, but you don't identify with the emotion.
Yeah, that's a beautiful practice. I think we could all learn from that, like being the witness. One of the things that I do a lot of, I talk a lot about the subconscious mind, and the purpose of a disturbing emotion is your mind is trying to get you to take an action. And being a witness would be a beautiful practice. Sometimes those patterns, well, usually those patterns are so ingrained that our nervous system kicks in and we go into fight, flight, or freeze mode, which doesn't allow us access to that witness. So I can offer some intermediary steps between, you get triggered, you feel a disturbing emotion, and, I'm going to witness, because I think most of us don't even have that choice when our nervous system gets activated.
So it sounds like you're talking about self-regulation.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if you could share with us some tools or techniques of self-regulation.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I think that learning how to regulate your nervous system is the number one skill that every successful person has mastered. And it's not by mastered, I mean, they know how to do it and they keep doing it quicker and quicker. So it's not like they never go into fight or flight, but it's like when they do, they're like, oh, I see you, I recognize you. Instead of like just believing it and going down that rabbit hole and going into a full-blown panic attack or something, or anger, rage, whatever it is. So one of the quickest ways that I have found is through breath. Anytime that you exhale longer than you inhale, your mind, your subconscious mind gets the idea, it gets the message that everything's okay. Because otherwise you're like, you're hyperventilating, usually, if you're really in a stressful situation. Maybe not that extreme. But if you notice, your breath is very shallow and very high in the chest. So what I do is exhale out all the air first to create an empty space. And then slowly inhale through the nose for a count of 5. And then hold for 6. And then exhale through the mouth. And if you have trouble exhaling slowly, make it through like a pin or a straw hole, like a exhale through the mouth for 7. So it's called 5, 6, 7. Very simple to remember. So inhale for 5, hold for 6, exhale for 7.
So
and usually
what I'd
3 or
like
4
you to
times.
do, Karen,
Yes.
is I'd like you to actually take our audience through the process.
Yes.
So as long as you're not driving a car or operating machinery, please allow yourself to get centered and go through this process. Learn from the inside.
Beautiful. Yeah, let's get it into the body. So if you are someplace safe, again, to close your eyes, that usually helps because it reduces the stimuli coming in from outside. So go ahead and close your eyes and slowly exhale all the air out of your lungs. And then take a slow, deep breath in through the nose for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale through the mouth slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale through the mouth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Breathe naturally and allow the eyes to open.
Oh, that feels amazing.
It's so quick.
Yes,
Just a piece of it.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that one. One of the other ones that most people haven't heard of unless they've done Brain Gym or Psych K. It's so funny because it was originally called hookups, and now hookups means something completely different. So I call it whole brain posture now, but it's really, really supportive. The nervous system loves this. And the reason for that is it takes 12 of the body's 14 main meridians, which is the way the energy flows. That's what acupuncture is based on. And 12 of the meridians begin or end in the fingers and toes, and you're putting them in a figure 8. So a lot of times people will have issues like, you ever meet somebody who keeps telling you the same story over and over about something that happened 10 years ago and they're still holding a grudge?
Yes.
Yeah, so could be a blockage in the large intestine meridian. The large intestine meridian is associated with letting go. That person might also have constipation issues because they can't let things go, literally and figuratively. So Shall we do that one? It's really fun.
That sounds great.
It's very easy. So if you take your feet and just cross your ankles, and your feet are flat on the ground, but your ankles are crossed.
Okay.
And then your arms in front of you with the thumbs pointing downward. Straight arm straight ahead, and then cross at the wrist, and then intertwine the fingers, and then fold your arms in so your hands are over your chest. And then go ahead and close your eyes. If this is really uncomfortable, you can do like Dracula pose and just cross your wrists and have your hands flat on your shoulders. Close your eyes. And as you inhale, bring your tongue up to the roof of your mouth, just behind your upper teeth. And then as you exhale, allow the tongue to drop to the bottom of your mouth. Inhale, tongue up. Exhale, relax the tongue. Now again, keep going with the breathing. I'll just explain what's happening. So in this position, the energy is flowing in that infinity sign, that figure 8. So there aren't all those starts and stops. And everyone I've done this with so far feels a nearly immediate effect in their nervous system. It just is like an where it can just sigh and relax. Another thing, you can think the word release on every single exhale, and imagine everything that doesn't have value, all those feelings, your mind trying to get you to take an action on something that happened 30 years ago that has no value to you. So with every exhale, release it. Allow it to flow out of you with the breath. And then as you inhale, think the words clear and free. And after your next exhale, uncross your feet, place your feet flat on the ground, and then uncross your hands, and then touch your fingertips gently together like this. They don't have to be high. I'm just doing this so you can see. You can put them in your lap and just barely touch your fingertips together. And you may feel some electrical activity going on there. It's kind of fun. And continue the inhale with the tongue up and exhale with the tongue down. Inhaling free and clear. Exhale, release. Inhale, free and clear. Exhale, release. And whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes, relax your hands. What'd you experience?
Oh, that was definitely a wonderful treat. It felt very centering. It felt very balancing, felt very connected.
Yeah, they've done research studies on this. First responders, like responding to a fire, for example, and the people that have survived, if they can get them into this position right away, their bodies and minds do not store that trauma. They're able to release it. So if you almost get into a car accident, or you do, or something traumatic happens, if you can get into that position, you can have your eyes open, but just be in that position. I've prevented anxiety attacks. I had one coming on. I'm like, oh man. So I just got in this position and I never had one.
Wonderful tool.
Yeah. If you happen to be on an airplane or in a meeting, there's an alternative so you don't look so weird. You just cross your leg over. I'm not going to be able to show you. And then your wrists are crossed. So this finger would be on my toe, like that. And then this one would be here.
Okay.
So that's just a variation. So you can do that one in public without looking weird. On an airplane, if you're having any anxiety in a meeting, anything like that. So those are a couple easy ones to remember.
Okay, so we have about 4 or 5 minutes left. Let's sum up this whole area of self-regulation. So let's give people like a nice takeaway that they can say, oh, this is how I'm going to now move better into self-regulation?
Yes. Well, first, I'm going to tell you why it's important, because if you are not regulating, your mind as a human being is so complex, and we have the ability to turn on a stress response with thought alone. And a stress response happens anytime there is a perceived threat. It doesn't have to be a real threat. It's like, oh, that person said something to me and I perceive that they're rejecting me, right? It doesn't even have to be true. It's just based on this filter that we've, have been carrying since childhood. And a lot of times these meanings go in when we're so little, we don't have enough information to really be logical. We don't have a conscious mind yet. It's not online. So, and then we carry those meanings throughout adulthood, and it doesn't work well. And then we beat ourselves up for having those meanings. So it's really important that when you catch your physiology, a lot of times there are different sensations in the body. Anxiety, most of the time, is a fear of those sensations of fear. So we end up being afraid of feeling the heart racing or the palm sweating or the contraction in the body or the shallow breathing. And then that actually creates anxiety, which creates those exact manifestations, right? So just knowing that, allowing sometimes those sensations, just noticing, oh, my heart is beating fast. Interesting. Just noticing, like you said, being the observer to it. Another thing is when you avoid doing something enough times, your subconscious mind reads that thing as dangerous. And if you've avoided it long enough, fatal. Why else would you have avoided it? So if you avoid going into the supermarket because you had an anxiety attack there, your subconscious mind is going to throw everything at you possible to get you to not go to the supermarket because it thinks you're going to die there.
Yes. So I want to make a point, though. And this I know from really studying hypnosis for over 50 years, is that you have the ability to create a image or a technique, like the breathing technique, that changes you from going to the limbic brain. See, the reticular activating system that's at the base of the brain decides if something is dangerous. If it's dangerous, it throws you into your limbic brain. The way that you can eliminate that is to have an image of personal power, having like a power image of yourself when you go out into the world, and monitoring your breath.
Yeah, let's talk about that in the next episode, because that's a good, juicy topic.
Yeah.
So long-term effects of not regulating your nervous system are, it breaks down. It does not have any resources available for maintenance and repair. Everything is going into that, let's escape the predator, or let's neutralize this attack. And the body is not meant for that. So in animals, it switches on when it's useful and switches off when it's not. It's great for sprinting, not great for running a marathon. And that's what most of us are doing. It's on all the time, and we're trying to run a marathon, but we're out of resources. So your energy will go up, your health will go up, the inflammation in your body will go down. You will become a lot smarter, because guess what shuts off when you're in a stress response? Your logical mind, your creativity, your bliss, your humor, your passion, your sex drive, all of it shuts off. So you're going to enjoy life a lot more when you have a regulated nervous system.
Very good. So my challenge for you is to go forth this week and practice these techniques. And we're going to be lucky to have Karen come back next week to continue our foundation for our mind and life changes. And remember always, when you change your mind, you change your life.